Good evening and welcome to the first of the Season 14 Monday Night Tours Notebook. Now this is where we're going to review the footage, the racing and the happenings of what happened during each round of the series for all three formats. Obviously the clears is a bit more harder because I completed it. However, we're going to start off with this, the Group A ones in the BMW M1 Pro car. Now, Scooby G put it on pole. It was Brands Hatch GP, home circuit for him really. Put on pole with a 133.333, which is pretty precise for him. Followed by Whitford and Jamie were your top three. Adam Morris was in fourth, the Les fifth, Wahai Mofo sixth, Lee, who was a returnee, in seventh, F124YS as a rookie. In 8th, Jack in 9th. Not a great qualifying by him, especially by his standards. D. Whitehouse 7 in 10th, Slider Gas 11th, Johnny 12th, Liner Greasby 13th, Royston 14th, Envoy Extreme 15th, and Tim was in 16th. Now, the conditions were not ideal. There was light rain for round number 1, but we got it underway. Whitford had a great getaway actually, immediately getting into position 1 from Scooby, and there was a slight crash behind. We didn't really catch much of it, but yeah, a little bit of a crash behind in the mid-pack of the grid. NGN Lee got a good getaway and was up to P5 from his position 7 starting. Then he also managed to pass Adam for P4. Adam making an unforced error, really going into Surtees, dropping him to P6, and the Les making up into the top 5. There was a big crash at Surtees as well. 5 cars involved. I couldn't tell you exactly who was there, but that paid dividends to a fair few people's races early on. Jack was up to P8 by this point, so trying to make some form of overtakes and trying to get the race into his favour. Scooby then ran wide at Surtees and dropped to P4, allowing Jamie F430 into P2 and Njan Lee into P3. Adam went around the outside of Scooby at Hawthorns. It was an absolutely phenomenal move. Got into Westfield and he just lost the rear end coming out of it. Not ideal for him. Ended up spinning and that ultimately resulting in retirement. NGN Lee passed Jamie for P2 on lap number 2 as well. Onto lap 4, the Les was off at Surtees. He went down to 5th, Scooby up into 4th. D. Whitehouse 7 managed to pass Tim. Now Tim was running very well, he's in the top 10, unfortunately getting booted out by D. Whitehouse 7 on lap number 4. Then Scooby made another mistake on lap 5. I believe it was at Paddock Hill. He went down to 7th place. So not ideal for him. Jack up, going up the order all the time. And also on that lap, Liner Greasby managed to pass where we was Johnny coming out of Druids because Johnny lit the rears up and spun to the inside. So that was for P8, which was good, especially with Liner Greasby on a controller. Lap 6, Whitford clipped a puddle on the inside of the flick right before he hit Pilgrim's Drop. Unsighted puddle, sent him into the barriers, putting him out of the lead. Down to 3rd, which left Lee into 1st and Jamie into 2nd. On the same lap, or on the start of lap 7, Jack went down to 7th place, Scooby up into 6th, and on lap 7, Whitford then spun again at Clark Curve, this time dropping him to 4th with the Les moving up into the podium spots. Lee in NGL Lee on lap 8 got caught up with lap traffic. Very unfortunate actually, considering lap traffic having a bit of spin and nowhere to go for NGL Lee, which then resulted in him losing the lead to Jamie on lap 8 of 14. On the same lap, Johnny ended up spinning at Clark Curve. He went down to 10th place, which put D107 up into 9th. He was one of the drivers involved in the earlier incident at Surtees on lap number 1, so he was making a good comeback through the grid. And then just a lap later, he managed to pass Liner Greasby for 8th place, did Whitehouse 7, so very, very nice drive through the field. Lap 11 came, Scooby passed One High Mofo at Stirling for P4. Very, very well calculated move up the inside. You couldn't really ask for any better, to be honest. But on the next lap he put it into the barriers, again in the flick right after Surtees, where Whitford had previously gone off. And that dropped him down then to P6, with One High Mofo up into 4th, Whitford into 5th. Carrying on through to lap 13 as well. Whitford passed One High Mofo for 4th place. Then Scooby actually going on to lap 13 pushed One High Mofo a little bit wide through Clark Cove, gaining the place, ultimately giving it back for 5th. He then attempted again at Druids, couldn't quite do it, and then completed the move at Surtees. Very well built up overtake. On to lap 13, Whitford, and it spun again at the flick right before Pilgrim's Drop. That really did ruin his race at the end of it. He then went down to 6th place, but the main battle on the last lap was NGR and Jamie battling it for 1st place. Jamie just about hanging on for the win at round number 1. So Jamie won, followed by NGR Lee, the Les in 3rd, Scooby in 4th, One High Mofo in 5th, Jack 6th, Whitford 7th, D Whitehouse 7 in 8th, Lloyd Greasby 9th, Whitby to Johnny 10th, Slidey Gas is in 11th, Tim, cracking drive from him up into 12th, F124YS in 13th, again another one of the people getting caught up early on, Royston 14th, Envoy Extreme 15th, and obviously Adam Morris retiring from the race. But got a few. So I get the drivers to do a bit of a questionnaire to see how things have gone. So we'll get a few of those up. Again, thank you to everyone who did complete it. It's massive help for me. So let's have a look. Start off D Whitehouse 7. He thought round went strongly, except for the opening laps, was getting caught up. Just saying, maybe to enjoy, not quite being cautious enough to rejoin, and even if there is a gap off the stand grid, just being a bit more aware. Obviously, people trying to get the same space. Obviously, 2 into 1 sometimes doesn't quite work. He rated the overall racing a 7, so it's a good start. Round 2, Bannock Bray. Just see, the question is, do you enjoy the circuit? He just says where, so that should be quite funny. The Mercedes 190E, he thinks it's alright, but we'll see how he goes on. In his round 2 expectations, he wants the pole win and fastest lap with a cherry on top. So big hopes, big dreams. Why not? F124YS, his first proper PC2 race. He's happy with his P8 in qualifying, but the race was a bit of a shambles in his woods. He had a big loud accident which put him massively behind the rest of the field, and apparently Red Mist just took over, and but he did have fun, which is ideal. The only issue for him was lap 1. He rated the racing at 8 again, so going up. He's never done a single lap round back break, so we'll find out if he enjoys it on the go. And again, he hasn't driven the Mercedes. He's beaten his team BMW, so it'll be interesting to see how he does in that. He's hoping for a top 6 finish. Again, very ambitious from him, I would say, but definitely not at all out of the question. The Les, how do you think round 1 went for it? If the first 2 guys had spun towards the end of the race, it would have been fantastic. The only incident came in qualifying, first lap coming down to the straight, had to take avoiding action with the car reversing, but no biggie. Again, 8 for the racing. Bannock Bray's only raced once, depends what car he's in. Oh, he did just read it. He said, yeah, it'll be great, Mondays are happy days again. He enjoys the Mercedes, not front wheel drive. He expects to just drive as fast as he dares and try not to spin, which is a good game plan. We'll pick one more and go on to the modern touring cars. Let's have a look at NGR Lee, the returnee, see how he thinks. He thought round 1 went pretty well for his return to the series. Only one issue, just the back marker he spun, not a lot. That could have been done by racing, rated a 9. He enjoys Bannock Bray, he enjoys the Mercedes, and he's always going to go for the win. So that should be very interesting indeed to find out how he does here at Bannock Bray in round number 2. Moving on then, the modern touring cars. And a category that's always very, very close. So qualifying came, we're at Zhuhai, it's dry, it always produces brilliant action. Scooby put it on pole with a 140.875, followed by Jack, Ginge, Boy Rexa, the 4-time back-to-back Race of Winners champion, doing a full season this season, so one to look out for. 5th place was Jamie, MLV, Les, Fraser, Whitford 0, Royston, Shadowstalker, Tro 246, D Whitehouse 7, Johnny, Envoy Extreme, and Tim. So we got off the line, Fraser with the BMW into position 1, but he couldn't get the car slowed down enough into the first corner, and the car just went absolutely sailing off into the gravel. That meant Scooby kept position 1 out of turn 1. Boy Rexa then managed to nick it through turn number 4, and Jack and Scooby started having a bit of a battle. Ginge was down to 7th after his strong qualifying attempt. Fraser at this point had retired from the race. Jack then moved up to P2 against Scooby on near the end of the lap 1, so we were set for a good solid race at the front. The Les on lap number 2 down to position 7, meaning Jamie and Ginge up into 5th and 6th respectively. Jamie then passed MLV for 4th place as well. Moving on to lap 4, Ginge passed MLV for 5th at turns. We started at turn 1, finished it at turn 4, lovely little sequence of corners, and the Les passed MLV at turn 4/5 because he absolutely threw the car in there. One of the biggest dive bombs I've ever seen. That worked out so perfectly, it was untrue. But that meant he was up into 6th place. MLV then repassed Les on the next lap for that 6th place, whilst D Whitehouse 7 passed Roy for 7th on lap number 5. Jamie on lap number 7 tried to pass Scooby at turn 1, then completed the move at turn number 5. Again, a good set of corners between the contenders. On to lap number 7, Tro 246 and Johnny were having an absolute monumental battle between each other for some of the lower end places near the back of the grid. But it was pretty much all race long they were going at it, constantly overtaking each other, switchbacking each other. Whenever we switched to them, they were always having a good crack at someone. Moving 3 laps later on to lap number 10, Jamie absolutely sent one down the inside at turn 11. Unfortunately, clipped Jack in the process. That meant Scooby went up into 2nd place, made 2 positions on that. And Jack into 3rd, Jamie down, stayed in 4th. MLV and Les was still battling at this point for that 6th place. They were constantly swapping places, having goes at each other. Again, very, very good to see. Jamie passed Jack at turn number 7 for 3rd place, and then later on in the lap, Jack then repassed Jamie at turn 11 on lap 11. So it set up for a very good final lap. MLV and Les had a bit of contact coming into turn number 3. Luckily, no big accident, but MLV up into 5th and Les into 6th. Jamie then passed Jack at turn 14, but I believe a bit of contact between the two, or Jamie running wide, meant that he slowed down and returned that position. So, let's have a look at some people's answers. I'm only going to do a few, not going to do all of them. Let's go for the host, Ginge. How do you think round 1 went? He thought it wasn't too bad, could have been better. Were there any problems for him? He took a sensible option of avoiding Les from a mighty dive bomb, but lost 2 places in the lead group in the process, and not ideal for him. Rated the overall rating an 8. Round 2 at Snetterton 300, and he likes it for sure. Round 2 in the BMW, he's not raced it enough to fully judge, but he's not quick in the Beamer, so this could be a struggle for Ginge. His expectations for round 2, hopefully a top 5 or 6 finish, so just trying to keep up there. Jamie F13, let's have a look at him. He thought round 1 went good, could have been better. Any problems, for instance, lap 1 he was hit off and lost 3 places. Rated the racing as 7. He enjoys SNES 300. He's driven the BMW last season, so he should be okay, which could be an interesting factor. And he's hoping to win the race with that experience. Boy ranks of 14. Let's have a look. Saying it was close to the front, showing potential for a close and intense season, and that's coming back from a 4-time rated winners champion, multiple league winning, multiple seasons of winning Ginettas, won the V8 Supercars as well, so definitely want to look out for, especially those words. Just a few minor accidents that are expected at the first race of the season apparently. Rated the racing a 9, so a very highly rated race for him. It's not his all-time favourite than 300, but he's had a few decent results in the past there. He says the BMW is a fun car to drive. Hopefully rear-wheel drive suits his style better than the front-wheel drives, and he's hoping to fight for the victory. And we'll pick up on Johnny's answers. How do you think round 1 went? He thought good, apart from choosing the Merc, so obviously the Merc not the fastest car, giving himself a bit of a challenge. No problems at all, which is good. Rating the race an 8. He enjoys SNES 300. He thinks the BMW is okay, so we could see a bit less from Johnny in that car, and he's just hoping to have fun in round number 2, which is what this is all about. I mean, if it wasn't fun, why would we be doing it? Moving on to the final race of the night, which is the MNT Clios. Now the Clios I compete in, so no real action review replay, but we're again at Zhuhai. I can tell you a bit about my race and a few others who answered the questionnaire. Again, thank you to everyone who has answered the questionnaire. So in qualifying, Jamie set the pole position time with a 1:49.430, followed by Jack, MLV, Cam, Ginge, Scooby, Fraser, Brewster 71A, DY7, F124YS. I didn't have a good qualifying, only getting 11th place on the controller this time. Royston in 12th, Envoy Extreme 13th, Johnny 14th, Tim 15th, and A-Teams Go rounding out the grid. So let's have a look at the drivers who did answer the questionnaire. F124YS thought in qualifying, how do you think round 1 went? This is a bit of an extended answer. Qualifying, he rolled on his outlap and had to return to the pits to go again, so he only got 1 flying lap in, so tyres weren't warm and got stuck behind traffic. But he went P6 before anyone got their second lap, ended up in P10 obviously. He made progress on that one until an incident. He recovered about 7 seconds off the back of the pack, which he made up and set 150.5 without slipstream, which is a fairly good time actually. He loved the pursuit, just a shame he couldn't have a battle. Rated the overall racing as 7. Never raced in the Clio, but he loves SNET. Well, SNES 200, as that's next round for the Clios. And his aim there is for a top 5 finish. I should probably say that the results of the race, Scooby won it from Jamie, Jack, MLV was 5th, Cam was MLV 4th, Cam 5th, Ginge 6th, DY7 finished 7th in the results. He was 5th I believe, but he received a penalty for track limits. Johnny in 8th, myself in 9th. I had a good race, we'll come back to it. Royston 10th, A-Teams Go in 11th, F124YS in 12th, Brewster 71A in 13th, Envoy Extreme 14th, Tim in 15th, and Fraser didn't manage to start the race. Tim also did not finish. Moving on to other drivers, Johnny. Let's have a look at you. He thought round 1 went average. Any problems for him? No. Rated the racing at 8. Likes SNES 200. He's hoping to stay with the pack for the tow and hopefully a better finishing position. NGR Ginge, the host, thought round 1 could have been a lot better. No problems apart from some mad orange Clio nearly wiping him out, but I saw him coming and moved enough to not get spun, lol. I was off the pace, to be honest, had not practiced, so that's not ideal, and I'll explain the Mad Orange Clio. Rated the racing as 7, enjoys Snetterton 200, and his expectations is for a top 5 finish. Brewster 71A. How do you think round 1 went for him? He could have been better, decent pace, but disappointing finishing position there for him. Were there any problems? Yeah, he had a great start from 8th up to 6th, but then got spun on penultimate corner, 3 wide. Was always going to get messy, and so put it down. So it was a racing incident. Feeling positive for the rest of the season. He rated the overall racing as 7. He enjoys Snetterton 200-ish, so not maybe not one of his favourite tracks, and he's hoping to improve on round 1. Now, for myself, obviously not a great qualifying position in 11th. Got off the line and got really squeezed into turn 1. Very, very heavily squeezed, dropping me near the back of the pack. Carried on through though, just got my head down, got going. Now, Ginge with the Mad Orange Clio come down the inside. That was me. I was trying to pass Royston into turn number 1 and just hit the brakes slightly too late. Realised really early. Tried to scrub the speed off. Put it in a bit sideways. Tapped Ginge, and I ended up getting collected and spun around. So I kind of got paid the price for it, as it were. Luckily, luckily Ginge didn't spin, which is quite nice. But I ended up recovering to 9th, which is quite good. So the racing was very, very good. I mean, I rated probably an 8.5 if there was points on there. So it's too much. I like Snetterton 200. I'm hoping to be on the wheel, but I'm kind of already thinking I'm going to be on the controller. So we'll see what happens with it. I'm expecting round 2. I'm hoping to be nearer the top 6 area. Try and get a decent qualifying lap in, and really just have a good go at it and have a bit more fun. But that is it for the Monday night Torres notebook for round number 1. Do join us again for the second notebook. It will be coming very soon to a YouTube channel near you. From myself, thank you for listening in, and goodbye.